Module Overview : In the contemporary land acquisition and development landscape, environmental and social impact assessment, ESIA, is a critical, legally mandated, and ethically responsible process. It ensures that land development activities do not irreversibly degrade the environment, displace vulnerable populations without mitigation, or create unsustainable resource footprints. With rising concerns over climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, and social disintegration, ESIA stands as a regulatory and planning framework that evaluates potential negative and positive impacts of proposed land use changes before they are implemented. 1. Introduction to ESIA. Definition and importance in land acquisition. Goals: prevention, mitigation, compensation, enhancement, environmental versus social impacts. Distinguishing factors legal mandate in national and international frameworks. 2. Legal and institutional frameworks for ESIA. Environmental Impact Assessment Act, Cap-E 12LFN 2004, in Nigeria Federal Ministry of Environment, FMENV, and state-level equivalents, Role of National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, NESREA. International frameworks, IFC Performance Standards, World Bank Environmental and Social Framework, ESF, African Development Bank, ES Policy, mandated projects and threshold criteria requiring ESIA. 3. Phases and procedures in the ESIA process. Screening. Determines if ESIA is required. Scoping. Identifies key environmental and social issues. Baseline studies. Data collection on current environmental, ecological, and socio-economic conditions. Impact assessment. Predicting significance, magnitude, extent, duration of potential impacts. Mitigation measures. Strategies to prevent or minimize harm. Environmental and Social Management Plan, ESMP. Operational Framework for Mitigation Reporting and Disclosure. Draft EIA Report, Stakeholder Feedback, Final Approval, Monitoring and Compliance. Ongoing Tracking, Audits, Reporting Mechanisms. 4. Environmental Impact Components. Air quality and emissions, soil contamination and erosion, water pollution and usage, biodiversity and habitat loss, deforestation and land degradation, climate risk analysis and adaptation. 5. Social impact components. Involuntary resettlement, cultural heritage disruption, public health and safety risks, gender equity and vulnerable groups, indigenous communities, and customary land rights, employment generation versus displacement, community conflict perception and acceptability. 6. Stakeholder engagement and public participation. Importance of free, prior, and informed consent, FPIC, identification of stakeholders, residents, NGOs, local leaders, government agencies, community consultations, focus groups, participatory mapping, disclosure obligations, and conflict resolution mechanisms. 7. Preparation of environmental and social management plans, ESMPs. Structure of an ESMP. Actions, timelines, responsibilities, budgets, monitoring and evaluation frameworks, emergency response and grievance redress mechanisms, integration with urban planning and land development permits. 8. Resettlement action plans, ERAPs. Purpose and legal basis, principles of fair compensation and livelihood restoration, inventory of affected persons, assets, entitlement matrix and compensation strategies, livelihood rehabilitation and resettlement infrastructure, monitoring and social safeguards compliance. 9. Environmental permitting and approval processes. Application for environmental impact clearance, EIC review timelines and documentation role of environmental audit and post-impact monitoring. Common reasons for rejection or suspension of permits. 10. Challenges and limitations in ESIA implementation. Inadequate baseline data and expertise gaps, political interference and corruption, tokenistic community consultation, weak enforcement and monitoring, delays in approval, and bureaucratic bottlenecks. Learning outcomes. By the end of this module, you will be able to understand the role and structure of ESIA in land acquisition, identify key environmental and social risks associated with land development, navigate national and international ESIA legal frameworks, carry out stakeholder engagement and public disclosure procedures, design mitigation strategies and prepare effective ESMPS and RAPS, interpret ESIA reports and respond to regulatory expectations, anticipate and address common implementation challenges,